This week, our beautiful sun is activating gate 20 in the I Ching and Gene Keys. This frequency is activating a genetic codon within all of us that is stimulating our consciousness field theme for this week. The transformational path of this frequency moves from the shadow of superficiality to the highest frequency of presence, and it's via the path of self-assurance. The 20th I Ching Gene Key is pivotal if you wish to understand deeply the Gene Keys. The original name in Chinese of this hexagram, of this frequency, can be interpreted as contemplation, which means viewing, a sense of viewing inwardly and being viewed. At the shadow level of being, it's all about superficiality and absence, not being aware of things, oneself, and even the other. Contemplation is an art, and the whole secret purpose of the Gene Keys is to foster in us this forgotten art. You noticed I didn't use the word teach us, but foster in us. That's because contemplation can't be taught. It can only be cultivated. It's a gentle, subtle art that rises and grows from within us. The art of contemplation has 3 levels. The first, you simply begin to view, look, and observe. You simply begin to view the life. You begin to look all around you and see what's in front of you. At first, it could be difficult because you start realizing that you've been absent. You start realizing that you've been living on the surface, superficially. You start to realize that you've been living the life without any real self-awareness, which is the dilemma of the 20th shadow, lack of self-awareness. It can be a painful revelation to look back at the life and see all the debris in our relationships, the wasted dreams, and the hurt that we caused others. But this is why we begin and use the viewing lens of the present moment to our current life situation and how we're behaving behind closed doors within our inner world and then outer world. Over time, we begin to thread an important connection, that our outer life is built on a foundation of our inner life. It's a reflection, and this is the first phase of contemplation. We also enter a phase of intense learning, which spontaneously gets turned on and off as we work through this shadow. We begin to see the direct effect of our presence and absence in the world. We begin to see the mistakes that we make when we don't consider the whole situation. That's when we're absent. And when we're present, we're aware enough to consider the feelings of others. Self-awareness comes and self-awareness goes. Sometimes we're present and sometimes we're absent, but most of the time we're trapped by absence. At the shadow, days are consumed by reaction and stress from the outer world without even knowing it. But every now and again, we come up for air, an oasis of contemplation as we pause and remember ourselves. It might be a yoga class, a moment of inspiration, a burst of creative energy, or maybe even a gene key, but we're reminded how wonderful the present moment is. We spend a great deal of time living in this shadow. Only rarely do we pause long enough to enjoy the beautiful sun. But this is all normal. This is natural. This is the way of things. Evolution comes at its own time. If you look at the shape of this hexagram, it looks like a tower. This frequency is inviting us, calling on us to gain a higher vantage point of our realm, a higher perspective of the life. It calls us from within to enter onto a higher path, a path of awareness. Contemplation is not just about thinking. It's a whole way of being. It's about viewing oneself from a higher level, from an objective level. The whole purpose of gaining this view is so that we can learn to see how we're creating our own suffering. Great gentleness is required with the self, and this too needs to be learned. We need to learn to listen to the whispering wind of awareness and let it blow to every corner of the life. We are here to learn to be more considerate, to take things more smoothly, and to look at the truth of who we are and to see the depths of our superficiality. Reflect at the end of the day and see how present you were in total. How many moments of presence in comparison to moments of absence? There's no competition or judgment. It's just about seeing what is, which is so valuable, to just see the superficial nature of the life in this way. The 20th gift, the way to transmute the shadow, the way to raise the vibration, self-assurance. The second layer of contemplation is about viewing oneself in relationship to the world. This is when self-awareness really deepens and a moral view comes into play. This isn't something that is imposed. It is something within each human being, but it takes a certain level of self-awareness for it to come to the surface. In this deep level of contemplation, we don't only see ourselves and our behavior, we begin to feel the effects of our absence and of our presence in the world. We start seeing ourselves in the eyes of the other. We become more sympathetic to our environment. Once we begin to consider the effects of our actions, thoughts, words, and speech, once we begin to see them deeply, then certain addictive patterns begin to fall away, and we become less altruistic, less selfish, less harmful, less toxic in our environment. Of course, at this stage, it's still trial and error process. This is a journey. At times, we fall back into our old habits and ways, but gradually, our awareness in us shows us that the old ways leads to more pain. So slowly, achingly slowly, we learn. And when our natural inner morality rises to the surface, we begin to feel self-assured. We manifest the gift of this frequency. It's the gift to feel more human and to feel a deeper sense of purpose in the world. To have awareness is to be open, to receive criticism and feedback with calmness. It's not about becoming a Zen master. It's becoming more human. It's becoming more integrated with the world around you. Awareness does that. It brings in a sense of integration and calmness to the world. Calmness stands out in the world. A self-assured person is a calm person. And I'm not referring to confidence or charisma. That's character traits. I'm referring to presence. Presence is the light, and absence is the lack of light. Presence is moving through this frequency in various degrees. At the shadow, it is an occasional visitor. At the gift level, it is a regular friend that comes to visit. And when she comes, she brings a sense of calmness and clarity. Try and recognize how often you truly are calm and see how this gift of calmness can bring an increase of awareness and comfort to the daily challenges that we all face. Allow this calmness to settle deeply into the depths of your being. When it's quiet and you're alone, let it swirl around you and let it cultivate. So how do we cultivate it? We simply make space for it to grow. Simplify the life as much as possible so awareness can find it easier to take root. Create daily rituals that have meaning and enjoyment. Let them sing out with simplicity and beauty, rather than meaningless tasks that you're trying to get done, so only in the end you can enjoy moments of presence. The 20th city, the highest frequency, presence. The third aspect of contemplation, it's when contemplation ceases, ends on its own accord. And then you are no longer seen or the seer, you're simply presence, whether moving or still. Have you ever seen a leaf fall off the tree while in awareness? If you haven't, I empower you to go and watch this fall, a leaf fall off the tree. The leaf is completely surrendered and the tree has let it go. Presence is a complete letting go internally. One day the tree lets you go. You don't let go. It's a happening. And it goes on happening. Every day the tree lets you go. Every moment the tree lets you go. And it goes on and on and on until that's all you are, which is presence. You let go of life. You let go of death. It's true immortality. Presence survives death. It's all there is. Empower this week to create space, get to higher awareness, notice your thoughts, feel all the sensations fully that come up in the body. This week, shine the light of awareness to your breathing. Take as many conscious breaths as you can. Feel the calmness within your inner being and sit with that energy. Let it cultivate and rise from within you. Be blessed.